To order a meeting of the Borough of Spring Lake Heights, regular meeting of February 28th, 2011. Please stand for a moment of silent reflection in memory of Frank Ford, whose funeral was today, and a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Enright?
Here.
Councilman Brennan?
Here.
Councilwoman Cynthia?
Here.
Councilman Diver?
Here.
Councilwoman King?
Here.
Councilman Mechanico?
Here.
Councilman Warbeck?
Here.
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law. Notice of this meeting was included in a list of meetings sent to the Co-Star and the Asbury Park Press, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website. Before we approve the agenda, I just want to explain the revised agenda, and that's because originally we had some things under consent agenda that really should have been separated. They were new, and so we moved those out to new business. Okay. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I'm sorry, Mayor, which items you moved out?
We didn't take them out, we just moved, the agreement with the cleaning services and the prevention specialist. That's new, so we put it under new business instead of consent agenda. That's all. Any other discussion? May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Ms. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Mr. Mechanico?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
May I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes of the January 24th, 2011 executive session?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Ms. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Mr. Mechanico?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
May I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes of January 24th, 2011 regular session?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I just have one comment. On paragraph 8, oh, I'm sorry, 7. About the last line there, maybe the second one. This is Mr. Brennan speaking. He said, you then repealed that and created a committee with yourself and Mr. Mechanico. Because my name was put in there, I just want to clarify a point here. The committee wasn't created, I believe it was voted on by the council. And I was asked to help out because the recreation was sort of floundering, and I volunteered my service to that. I'd just like to put that in.
Any other discussion? May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Ms. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Mr. Mechanico?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Special items and public hearings. Ordinance number 4, 2011. Would the clerk read the title, please?
Ordinance 04-2011, capital ordinance of the Borough of Spring Lake Heights, providing for the acquisition of equipment and appropriating $55,125, therefore from the Utility Capital Improvement Fund, authorizing in and by the Borough of Spring Lake Heights in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
Okay, may I have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
Any discussion?
Would anyone like to speak to this? May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Could I have a motion, please, to adopt and advertise in accordance with the law?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yes, Your Honor. At the last meeting, I had voted against the introduction of this ordinance because I just didn't understand why we would be continuing to deal with parties that had basically fleeced the borough previously with the residential water meters. Pursuant to that concern, I requested a copy of the settlement agreement, which was entered into by the council prior, December 22nd, 2008. I guess the only person remaining on the council from that time was Mr. Mechanico. But the language of the resolution and the agreement that was entered into with Census at that time speaks for itself. I would remind everyone that subsequent to the entry of that settlement agreement, there were people here who made representations that we were still going to be suing Census, notwithstanding the existence of this settlement agreement. Now, the settlement agreement largely dealt with the acquisition from Census of corrective hardware and software in order to effectively implement the operation of the thousands of 2,200 or more water meters that were purchased as part of the water meter project. There's a provision in there, paragraph 9, which deals with, that says Spring Lake Heights agrees to purchase, and then it goes on, Coda meters, which were for purposes of the residential. And then it says, it's also understood that an additional 6 to 7 Omni large water meters of various sizes will be purchased by the end of August 2009. Omni meters will be purchased through our authorized distributor, HD Supply. And my understanding is that those are the meters which are being sought to be purchased at this point in time. At that point in time, when they approved that settlement agreement, the resolution, which was prepared by the then clerk administrator, alleged that the contract the settlement agreement was going to be exempt from the local government contracts law pursuant to a provision of state statute, which I was curious about because, frankly, I didn't know. I have had opportunities in the past to read that statute, and I was suspicious about whether or not that statute would actually cloak the exemption from going to bid for the purchase of these water meters that we're attempting to purchase. And so just prior to coming over here, I printed out from the New Jersey statutes that provision, and that provision says that you can exempt from the necessity of going to public bid the provision of goods, the provision of performance or goods or services for the support or maintenance of proprietary computer hardware and software. And the problem that I have here is that we're not purchasing computer software or hardware. We are purchasing water meters, which are not exempt from the local government contracts law. And clearly $55,000 in purchase is in excess of the bid threshold. And the idea that we would be proceeding to purchase from a single entity without having a bid, and that entity is the authorized distributor of the meters for the culpable parties, which essentially caused the travesty in the residential water meters, I just find to be outrageous. And I really genuinely fear that there will be a lawsuit. $55,000 is not going to go unnoticed by the competitors of people who provide these types of water meters. So I would urge, I'm going to be voting against this, and I would urge my fellow members of the council to do likewise.
Can I just get this straight? You're not against necessarily the $55,000, it's that you think we should go out to bid.
Absolutely, and I don't think, I'm against going, I'm against dealing with Census when they were the ones who brought upon the travesty, to use Ms. King's word, of the previous water meter debacle.
Just so we're clear on what you mean.
My
Patty?
problem is, my understanding is that we have.
We did not partake in it, but prior to our getting on council, the whole issue of the water meters, then the council approved a settlement with Census, and is it not my understanding that we have to
abide by that settlement in order, is that
Well,
correct, John? In order to worry about a lawsuit later on?
Well, you know the joke about one lawyer was in town and he was going broke until the second lawyer came into town, they both got rich? Well, Mr. Brennan has excellently taken the side of a vendor who doesn't like the fact that we settled with Census, if there's anybody else even to bid. My understanding was Census was the sole bidder to start with. So there's no evidence that another bidder is going to appear, although there are costs of bidding every time we go out to bid. Number two, if we do bid and buy from somebody else, well, now guess who will sue us? Census said we breached the agreement. Now, John has pointed out, excellent argument. HD Supply is the third-party beneficiary. They're the authorized supply agent for Census, and they'll have a lawyer too. And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that whichever way you go, somebody won't sue somebody for something. Okay, so if we bid the way Mr. Brennan wants to, Census and HD Supply may sue us. We would then be alleging that this clause in the settlement was illegal, because basically it forced us to agree to quote-unquote violate the local public contracts law, because in 2006 or 8, they used exception DD. I went and looked and said, boy, exception DD, let me read that one. I read it, and I knew there was some computer element underlying the initial installation of how, and the system does more than we're having it do, I think, in terms of calculating bills and doing all. So we bought a system that'll do a lot that we don't ask it to do. So if the original contract was exempt, they bid it apparently though.
Right.
The original, so, and that's where we got the price of $55,000. Am I correct?
No, the original contract did not provide for the commercial water
But
meters.
we didn't just pick up the phone book and say, can you give me 67 Omni meters, what's the price? We've gotten something.
Yeah, it was negotiated by Teresa
I think there was
Kessler.
something about that being down the road, that the
But-
commercial water meters were the second step.
The price was negotiated at the time of the settlement.
No, not the price. The
But
purchase
with-
of the 67 from HD Supply.
When did we develop the price of 55,000?